Alright guys, and welcome back to Mr. Casual Scum reads My Immortal, and of course tries to correct it along the way. When we last left off, we had just finished Chapter 7. We're just going to jump back into it. Let's see if we can just keep making this thing go. Chapter 8. Author's note, stop flassing, okay? If you do, then you're a prep. Alright, the closest thing flassing is flossing, and you should never tell people to stop flossing. But judging by how many times you've had statements like this in the past, I'm guessing that's supposed to be flaming. S and M are nowhere near each other on the keyboard, so you might want to be real careful next time. So stop flaming, okay? If you, of course, Y-O-U, do, then, not den, you, once again when you can spell, are, 2 letters off from a word, a prep. Alright. Everyone in the class stared at me, and then Draco came into the room, even though he was naked, and started begging me to take him back. "Ebony, it's not what you think!" Draco screamed sadly. My friend Bloody Mary smiled at me understatedly. Alright, if someone does something if something's understated, then that means it's not stated enough. If she smiled at you understatedly, it means that she wouldn't have smiled at you enough, which just doesn't make sense. And also, you can't really smile at someone understandably, because that also kind of doesn't really make sense here. I think you're a little too adverb happy. How about just smiled at me because she understood? She flipped her long, waist-length gothic black hair and opened her crimson eyes like blood that she was wearing contact lenses on. Unnecessary detail, you know, all she's done is smile at you. You don't really need to explain that she's got really long hair. We remember this from when you introduced her earlier. She had pale white skin that she was wearing white makeup on. Hermione was kidnapped when she was born. Her real parents are vampires and one of them is a witch, but Voldemort killed her mother and her father committed suicide because he was depressed about it. She still has nightmares about it and she is very haunted and depressed. It also turns out her real last name is Smith and not Granger. Since she is converted to Satanism, she is in Slytherin, not Gryffindor. Okay, Gryffindor misspelled there. And we gotta talk about this whole, just because everyone's depressed, the whole Satanism thing, not everyone who's depressed kind of just converts to Satanism. Some people drink, some people smoke, you've already alluded to some people cutting. People will find outlets. Some people have a diary, some people take medication. Not everyone's going to convert to Satanism. Some people might actually even go to other religions or seek answers elsewhere. So it's just a little strange that, you know, you're kind of obsessed with every depressed person, be they a vampire or not, and everyone seems to be a vampire in this case, but they don't always have to be satanic. There's really no purpose for that, and it's kind of making your characters a little flat. You know, they already need some work, but this is kind of making them a lot flatter than, you know, they have a chance. They really, you're not giving them a chance, is what I'm trying to say. Alright, let's continue. Also, I do apologize. Bloody Mary, you really haven't introduced. I was thinking of Raven. You know, apologies for getting them confused. Once again, your characters need a little polish. "What is it that you desire, you ridiculous dimwit?" Snape demeaned angrily. We'll just say demanded angrily in his cold voice, but I ignored him. "Vampire, I can't believe you cheated on me with Draco," I shouted at him. Vampire cheated on you? Thought you were fucking Draco. Wasn't Draco the one you did the Keenly stuff with against the tree? And how'd Vampire cheat on you? The only contact you've had with vampires so much is that you bumped into him in the Great Hall while you were eating Count Chocula. I'm gonna have to see where this is going, but I don't get it. Everyone gasped. I don't know why Ebony was so mad at me. I had went out with Vampire. I'm bi, and so was Ebony. Okay, you switched to Draco being the narrator? You can't do that just mid dialogue. It just doesn't work. You could say, this part should probably just be cut, but I'll finish. But then he broke my heart. He dumped me because he liked Brittany, a stupid preppy fucker. We were just good friends now. He had gone through horrible problems, and now he was gothic. Haha, like I would hang out with a prep. But I'm not going out with Draco anymore, said Vampire. Alright, if we're going to keep that in, then that's redundant, because Draco just said that him and Vampire are just friends. Yeah, fucking right. Fuck off, you bastard, I screamed. I ran out of the room and into the forbidden forest, where I lost my virility to Draco, and then I started to bust into tears. You lost your virility? You lost your life? Your life's blood? I mean, I suppose if he maybe drank your blood while he was screwing you, it could possibly make sense in this context. But since you've already mentioned it your first time, I think we're going for virginity here and bust into tears. You know, people bust and break out into song, but bust into tears, like, I think we mean burst. And even burst into sound. And you know, bust is your chest, hun. Change it to burst. Chapter 9. Author's note. Stop flaming. Hey, we got it. Okay. I didn't. Alright, the DNTN, you're not even trying anymore. Didn't? It's DIDN apostrophe T or DID space NOT. Red, alright, one letter off, all the books. You're not even trying anymore. Books. This is from the movie, okay, so it's nut. Gotta quit this nutting. My fault if Dumbledore, again, hun, learn how to spell his name, swears. Besweeds. Besweeds? That sounds like you're trying to say besweed. Besides, I said he had a headache. Okay, let's just cut out that random capitalization. Said he had a headache. And the reason Snape doesn't like Harry now is 'cause he's Christian and Vampire is a Satanist. MCR rocks. Alright, we don't need the MCR rocks. They weren't even mentioned in the previous chapter, and that's not needed. Are you trying to start a religious war with saying that all Christians hate Satanists and Snape is okay? You know what? It's your story. It's your character. We'll proceed. I was so mad and sad. I couldn't believe Draco for cheating on me. Okay, hon, we got a real big misconception on cheating here. If he was screwing Potter before he was even with you, and then he started being with you, and he's not screwing Potter while he's with you, then he didn't cheat. That's an ex. That's an ex-boyfriend. Moving on. I began to cry against the tree where I did it with Draco. Alright, there it is. Proof. You did it against the tree, so that damn tree could never have been on top of you. Then all of a suddenly, how about just sudden, a horrible man with red eyes and no nose and everything started flying towards me on a broomstick. He didn't have a nose, basically like Voldemort in the movie. Redundant. You've already said he had red eyes and no nose and everything. And he was wearing all black, but it was obvious he wasn't gothic. It was Voldemort. Alright, if we're going to try to go for a dramatic entrance of a character, how about we don't put in parentheses right before his entrance, basically like Voldemort in the movie. That'd be like in a play, that'd be like in a movie, you know, if there's going to be a plot twist, being like introducing the plot twist and then having the plot twist at the end and expecting people to still be shocked. No, it won't work. No, I shouted in a scared voice. But then Voldemort shouted, "Imperius!" and I couldn't run away. "Crookshanks!" I shouted at him. You know, it's your story. At least it kind of has an interesting sound to it. Voldemort fell of his broom. we gotta learn about this "of" thing. Off his broom and started to scream. I felt bad for him, even though I'm a sadist, so I stopped. Alright, you've never mentioned you were a sadist before, and that really wouldn't have anything to do with this, but okay. "Ebony," he yelled, "thou must kill Vampire Potter." I thought about Vampire and his sexy eyes and his gothic black hair and how his face looks just like Joel Madden. See, this is sounding a lot like emotional cheating on your part. You're supposed to be with Draco and you're fantasizing about Vampire. I think we got some misplaced trust issues here. I remembered that Draco had said I didn't understand, so I thought, what if Draco went out with Vampire before I went out with him and they broke up? Now you're understanding. Fucker didn't cheat. Okay. "No, Voldemort," I shouted back. "Voldemort gave me... he gave you a gun!" "No, please," I begged. I'm sorry. We got to take a minute here. This is a goddamn magic school. You guys have magic spells. You're able to kill each other with a flick of your wrist and a couple words. Why in the holy fuck do you need a gun? And if you're gonna bring a gun in, it's gotta be specific. You can't just say a gun. A gun can mean anything from a handgun to a rifle or a shotgun. Please be specific. If you're going this ridiculous route, can we at least have some description? And can we at least have a reason why it needs to be a gun? Maybe Potter can't be killed by magic? That'd be nice to know. "Thou must," he yelled. And why is he saying thee and thou and being holier than thou with his talk? You haven't introduced that Voldemort was the Christian. You said Snape was the Christian. If anyone, Snape would have more of that Old Testament lingo. "If thou does not, then I shall kill thy beloved Draco." "How did you know?" I asked in a surprised way. Voldemort got a "dude, you're so retarded" look on his face. There's no better way to phrase that, huh? Just a "dude, you're so retarded" look on his face. How about looked dumbfounded? Or, yeah, got a perplexed look on his face. But in your case, since you're saying that it's so obvious, how about we just say he's dumbfounded that you're so incapable of grasping the obvious. "I hath," again with this goddamn Old Testament, really old English language, or Middle English language, "telekinesis," he answered cruelly. Alright, telekinesis, this could be really interesting. This could be a most interesting part in your story and you didn't include it. This can make sense. Telekinesis, if he has the ability to lift shit and throw shit around with his mind and move shit, then he could have picked up one of your chums who was out for a stroll, or just someone who happens to be in the school who's happened to see you guys. I mean, you don't seem to be invisible. You damn sure don't make yourself look invisible. And he could have grabbed him and flung him around like a rag doll and slammed him into walls and done a whole bunch of shit and just kind of siphoned that information from him. That would be an interesting scene. But we don't have that scene. Therefore, I think what we're going for here is telepathy, which is the ability to read minds, which I think is going to work a little bit better here. So how about I have telepathy? He answered cruelly. And if you doth not kill... I'm just going to let it ride from now. "Doth not kill Vampire, then thou know what will happen to Draco," he shouted. Then he flew away angrily on his broomstick. I was so scared and mad I didn't know what to do. Suddenly Draco came into the woods. "Draco," I said. "Hi." "Hi," he said back, but his face was all sad. He was wearing white foundation and messy eyeliner, kind of like a pentagram, get it, between Joel Madden and Gerard Way. No, I'm sorry, your viewers are not, and your readers are damn sure not going to get it. By the way, it's get it. Two separate words. kind of like a pentagram. Are you trying to say a cross between? Or a mix? Because if there's anything a pentagram isn't, it's not a cross. It's a 5-pointed star, either inverted, non-inverted, or slightly tilted. But it is by no means a cross, unless you take some of the points off. So, how about we quit trying to be cute? We can move on. Are you okay? I asked. No, he answered. I'm sorry I got all mad at you, but I thought you cheated on me, I expelled. You expelled it? You can expel fluids? So, like, you vomited. This is Magic Story. I guess you could have vomited words at him. Like, literally a whole string of dialogue you could have just, I'm sorry I got all mad at you. I thought you cheated on me. And hey, that's actually a pretty cool image. So, we're going to leave that in. Yes, you vomited out this dialogue. I like it. That's okay, he said, all depressed, and we went back into Hogwarts together, making out. Aw, touching. Chapter 10. Author's note. Stop it, you gay fags. Oh, we're just gonna stop that right now. Fags is a really, really, really derisive term, and what'd I say earlier about that whole alienating audience, and, we're being really offensive to the other communities, the non-heterosexual communities, because they happen to read this. They would have, just because they're non-heterosexual doesn't mean they're any less likely to read stories. So why don't we just cut out that term, because I guarantee you're not going for the archaic definition of a bundle of twigs or the British version of just a cigarette. So how about just going back to who you're really mad at, which is preps. So shut up, you preps. If you do not like my story, then fuck off. It's a swear word and you want to ruin it. I will not let you. It's F-U-C-K. Off. P.S. It turns out Bloody Mary isn't a muggle after all, and she and vampire are evil. Alright, she's not a muggle after all. She is a vampire, and she and vampire are evil, and that is why they moved houses. So everyone's in Slytherin. Gryffindor is fucking abandoned. Alright. I was really scared about Voldemort all day. Well, why? Who the fuck's Voldemort? Voldemort's the one that fucking threatened to kill Draco. I don't know who Voldemort is. Is he Voldemort's retarded cousin? Why are you worried about him? Unless that's a typo and that's supposed to be Voldemort. Let's switch it to Voldemort. I was even upset. Went to rehearsals with my How about you were upset even when you went to the rehearsals with your gothic metal band Bloody Gothic Rose 666. I'm the lead singer of it and I play guitar. People say we sound like a cross between GC, Slipknot, and MCR. The other people in the band are Bloody Mary, Vampire, Draco, Ron, although we call him Diabolo? Not even Diablo? Diabolo or Diabolo. I like Diabolo better. Diabolo. He has black hair now with blue streaks in it. Again, hair does not make a person. And Hargrid. Okay. Only today, Draco and Vampire were depressed, so they weren't coming, and we wrote songs instead. I knew Draco was probably slitting his wrists. He wouldn't die because he was a vampire too, and the only way you can kill a vampire is with a C-R-O-S-S. There's no way I'm writing that. Well, A, you did just write it. Putting hyphens in between each letter does not mean you didn't write it out. And B, if you have a problem writing the word cross, then why'd you write it earlier when you were talking about your skull earrings with the crosses? Hmm? Just saying. A little consistency. Or a steak. You know what? This has to stay because every other vampire story has stake being S-T-A-K-E, which is, of course, the piece of wood and a very sharp point used to drive with a mallet, usually, through a vampire's heart. You have it as the type of steak that people eat, like a T-bone or a porterhouse or, big sirloin. I like that. I like the idea of literally you have to take this piece of meat and you have to try to either beat them to death or get them to eat it or something like that. It actually gives you guys a little bit more chance of immortality. I mean, it's not really easy to kill someone with a steak because it doesn't say it's frozen. So in my mind, I'm thinking of one that's already cooked, and even a frozen one. I guess you can bludgeon yourself to death with it, but no, we're leaving that. People might knock you, but we're leaving that in. That's got promise. And Vampire was probably watching a depressing movie like The Corpse Bride. That's the most depressing movie you can think of, huh? Tim Burton and or a Tim Burton joint with Johnny Depp and I can't think of the actress's name, but not really that depressing. A lot of people laughed at that movie. I think you could find a much more depressing title. Let's put our thinking caps on when we edit that. I put on a black leather shirt that showed off my boobs. Hey, you're showing off something at least instead of showing of it. And tiny matching miniskirt that said Simple Plan on the butt. Sorry, thinking of a joke. You might think I'm a slut, but I'm really not. We were singing a cover of Helena, and at the end of the song, I suddenly bust into... Once again, we're bursting, not busting. Into tears. Ebony, are you okay? Bloody Mary asked in a concerted voice. What the fuck do you think? I asked angrily. And then I said, well, Voldemort came and the fucking bastard told me to fucking kill Harry, but I don't want to kill him because he's really nice, even if he did go out with Draco. Once again, this is some misplaced anger you have. But if I don't kill Harry, then Voldemort will fucking kill Draco. I burst, yes, into tears. Suddenly Draco jumped out from behind a wall. Why didn't you fucking tell me? He shouted. How could you, you fucking poser muggle bitch? See, is that... What? Nope, author's note. I'm not even reading it. It's out. I started to cry and cry. Draco started to cry too, all sensitive. Then he ran out crying. We practiced for 1 more hour. Wow, nice to see you care about him so much that you actually won't run after him. That's not really consistent with your character, kind of having a hard time with him being with someone else. I would think if he was hurt, you would have chased after him, but instead you're just going to keep jamming like nothing happened. Tough bitch. Then suddenly Dumbledore walked in angrily. His eyes were all fiery, and I knew this time it wasn't because he had a headache. Spelled correctly? Yes. What have you done? He started to cry wisely. He cried wisely. His tears had wisdom in them. How about he cried wisely? I mean, okay, so he's screaming at you, but now he's crying wisely. How about if he's supposed to be like sad? How about maybe he's like crying profusely? See, we're getting rid of the author's notes. I'm sorry, they're gone. Ebony, Draco has been found in his room. He committed suicide by slitting his wrists. No. Not fucking possible. You just said... Oh, let's see. The only way you can kill a vampire is with a stake or a cross. You also said Draco was probably slitting his wrists. He wouldn't die because he was a vampire. So, how can he die because he slit his wrists? You just said he'd be okay. You also said that's not a way to kill him. So, unless while he was slitting his wrists, So unless he slit his wrists to marinade the big steak that he had sitting in a bowl and then either chowed down or fucking jammed it through his fucking heart somehow, this is not possible. He should be fine. You need to fix that. Chapter 11. Author's note. I said stop flaming. Yay, we still got it. Up preps. How about just flaming you preps? C, S-E-E. If this chapter is stupid, how about stupid, it deals with really serious issues. SPC for yourself. Don't know what SP is supposed to mean. We'll just X that out and just have that be. How about instead of C for yourself? That really sounds like a threat, because C4 is a type of plastic explosive, hun, and if you tell someone to C4 themselves, that is kind of implying that they go blow themselves up. How about we see with our eyes, S-E-E, for yourself, Y-O-U-R. If it is stupid, how about stupid? B-R-W? Alright, one, it's B-T-W, and we already talked about this, by the way. We definitely have talked about this Fang shit. Thanks to my friend Raven for helping, not helping, helping me. No, I screamed. I was horrified. Bloody Mary tried to comfort me, but I told her fuck off, and I ran to my room crying myself. Dumbledore chased after me shouting, but he had to stop when I went into my room because he would look like a perv that way. Anyway, I started crying tears of blood, and then I slit both of my wrists. They got all over my clothes, so I took them off and jumped into the bath angrily while I put on a Linkin Park song at full volume. Well, wait a minute. If you're slicing both of your wrists and you're fine, why is Draco dead? Once again, we need clarification. See, you're grabbing a steak and you're almost sticking it into my heart to commit suicide. See, you are grabbing the steak. Draco did not. So, was my marinating theory correct? If so, we need to have that inputted into the story. I was so fucking depressed once I got out of the bathtub and put on a black low-cut dress with lace all over it, sadly. Sandly? How about just sadly? I put on black high heels with pink metal stuff. Nope. We talked about this really early in your story. You were really specific about what you're wearing. Stuff isn't going to cover it. We need specifics. On the ends and 6 pairs of skull earrings. I couldn't fucking believe it. Excuse me. Then I looked out the window and screamed. Snap was spying on me, and he was taking a videotape of me, and Lupin was masticating to it. Alright. I'm guessing Snap's supposed to be Snape, otherwise you're going for, oh, Snap! Which, that doesn't make sense, and once again, we really need to work on spelling characters. And Lupin was eating? So, Snap's like kind of getting freaky watching this tape, maybe getting himself a nice little stiffy, and Lupin's just chilling there on his broomstick, just eating a sandwich. Masturbating to it, maybe? Yeah, how about masturbating? They were saying on their broomsticks. You fucking perv, stop looking at me naked. Are you pedos or what? I screamed, putting on a black towel with a picture of Marilyn Manson on it. Suddenly, Vampire ran in. Alright, wait just a minute. You're not naked. You just said you put on a black low-cut dress with lace all over it. Are you saying that your tits aren't covered up? Because if it's a black low-cut dress, that's still covering up enough, or is it just your bottom? Either way, naked implies naked. Naked. Like birthday suit, like you got fucking nothing on. So, stop. How about just stop staring at me, you pervs? Abracadabra! Sounds like a magic spell. I don't I think it's supposed to be cadavra with the C, kind of like, cadaver. He yelled at Snape and Lupin, pointing his womb. Whoa, 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 back the truck up. He pointed his what? Now, vampire might be bi. You never said vampire was trans. And if he's pointing his womb, my God, that had to hurt. I mean, he would have had to ripped into himself and... Whew. That's a graphic fucking scene right there. Oh, wait a minute. You meant his wand, right? Yeah, his wand. And you took my gun. It's not yours. Voldemort lent it to you. And shot Snape and Lupin a gazillion times, and they both started screaming and the camera broke. Okay, gazillion sounds really silly. How about you just shot them? Suddenly, Dumbledore... Who's this? Oh, of course, a typo. Dumbledore. Ebony, has been revealed that someone has... No! He shouted, looking at Snape and Lupin. Then he waved his wand, and suddenly, Hagrid ran outside on his broom. He ran outside on his broom? Where the fuck? Was he even in the room? You're calling Snape and Lupin pervs. Fucking Hagrid's already in your room. And by the way, is Hagrid supposed to be Hagrid? He's in your room. If he ran outside on his broom, that means he was probably in your room. Unless you have, like, a window out looking the courtyard and he ran from somewhere else. Which, once again, the context of where you are, this makes no sense. This makes it sound like Hagrid was fucking, like, underneath the bed or some shit. We need to talk. What do you know, Hagrid? You're just a little Hogwarts student. I may be a Hogwarts student. Hagrid paused angrily, but I am also a Satanist. Alright, I'm just going to accept that everyone that's in your clique is a Satanist, and everyone who knows anything's a Satanist. Okay, we can leave it at that. This cannot be, Snape said in a crisp voice. But just he said as blood dripped from his hand where Dumbledore's wanded shop, not Dumbledore. There must be other factors. You don't have any, I yelled in. Did you go outside? Are they literally talking out in the courtyard at you? Or did you, like, because that's what it sounds like. It sounds like you're in the courtyard, maybe with Hagrid. They're yelling from the room, and you, like, ran back and went, no, you don't have any. How about just you yelled madly? Lupin held up the camera triumphantly. But just triumphantly. The lens may be ruined, but the tape is still there. Okay. I felt faint more than I normally do, like how it feels when you do not drink enough blood. Why are you doing this? Lupin said angrily while he rubbed his dirty hands on his cloak. You know, a cloak does sound like something a perv would wear, I will say that, but how about a cloak for magicians? And then I heard the words I heard before, but not from him. I did not know whether to feel shocked and happy or to bite him and drink his blood because I felt faint. Because Hagrid said, and he paused in the air dramatically, waving his wand in the air. Then he just swooped in, singing to the tune of a gothic version of a song by 50 Cent. No. 50 Cent is rap. You cannot gothic rap. No. Marilyn Manson. He swung in singing something by Marilyn Manson. Because you're gothic? How about gothic? How about Snape asked in a little afraid voice, because he was afraid it meant he was connected with Satan. Okay, how about just he's afraid Hagrid the Satanist? Because I love her. Okay, so Hagrid loves Ebony, Draco loves Ebony, Vampire's a little bit flirty with her as well. Okay. Well, the only person we've heard say he loves you is Draco. So, when you say words you had not heard from him, the last person talking was Lupin. Of course you haven't heard it from him. He was just outside masturbating on his broom, to you getting out of the tub. But you could easily just say, I heard the words I had heard from Draco, and I didn't, I heard words I did not expect to hear from Hagrid. And then I felt faint. And I didn't know whether to feel shocked or happy or bite him and drink his blood. There. That'll probably solve that little problem. And that's going to take care of it for chapters 8 through 11. When we come back, we're going to do chapter 12. Try to get through 12 through, I guess, 14. It's difficult, and it's seemingly getting a little bit more difficult as we go along. I'm not sure how that's possible, but we're going to keep going at it. This is Mr. Casual Scum signing off. You guys take care of yourselves. Stay tuned for the next part. Alright, take care. Later.